Cigar Company is your one-stop shop for all your cigar needs. Whether that's a brand new humidor, a box of those new cigars you've been waiting for, a top-of-the-line cutter or lighter, a place to enjoy the finest cigars and spirits with friends, or the only cigars grown right here in the Sunshine State, we've got you covered. Come visit one of our retail locations for the ultimate cigar experience. Visit us online at coronacigar.com.
How about that cigar?
How about that cigar?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Corona Cigar Studios for episode 215 of How About That Cigar Live. Guys, thank you so much for joining us live on Facebook, live on YouTube, and if you're listening after the fact on the audio podcast, guys, thank you so much for making How About That Cigar a part of your regular audio podcast rotation. And as you can see right now, subscribe to all the social media channels. You will find us on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all the good stuff. Twitter, yes. We really don't use it.
What
but
about MySpace? Are we still on MySpace?
We're not on MySpace. We're still on Friendster, though.
Friends?
No,
That's a new one that's coming out next week.
That was a long time ago. So yeah, guys, thank you for joining us on episode 215. As you guys could see, leading up to this, we have a super cool giveaway. So stay tuned. Live in the comments, we're going to have a special comment that you guys can leave that is going to gain you an additional 25 entries. Ooh. So, and you can go to the link right now in the comments, I believe. You can go to that link and you can enter the contest right now while you're watching the show. And then we will give you the secret special comment that you'll want to leave on Facebook or YouTube. That'll give you that additional. Secret. That's right. That'll give you that additional 25 entries. So you guys do not want to miss that. We have a great special guest coming on in just a few minutes, but
no, don't do it.
So as our dear friend Cigar Coop would say, we would like to thank the New York Yankees for their participation in the 2023 MLB season. I'm sorry, bro. I know
that cuts so deep. I know that cuts.
I know you're a fan. So the Minnesota Twins clinched the AL Central for the first time. Well, not a super. The last time was 2020, and which 2020 was a weird season all around.
The question is,
okay,
will they make it past the first round?
Well, we have some interesting info about that coming up. So most likely the Twins are going to face Houston in the wild card round. Most likely, if everything plays out the way it's looking like it's going to, we're going to face Houston in the wild card round. Now, in years past, that would really kind of freak me out a little bit, but Houston is not the team they were last year. So I think.
So are they half the team they used to be?
They are half the team they used to be. But so here's the thing: the Twins also have
no Yankees.
We have 9. And we don't have to beat the Yankees, but the Twins have 9 players on the injury report right now, including Gallo, Lewis, Buxton, and Correa. And
isn't Buxton always on the?
Well, Buxton's he lives on the injury report, but so Twins are currently at 83 wins. We have 6 games left to play. Back in '87, when the Twins won the World Series, their win total for the season was 85. Just saying.
Okay.
So Justin, go ahead and put that graphic up on screen. I saw this today and it blew my mind, that Twins graphic. So the last time the Twins won a playoff game was October 5th, 2004. The number 1 song in the country was Goodies by Sierra, whatever.
Number 1 movie was Shark Tale.
Royce Lewis, current slugger for the Minnesota Twins, was 5 years old.
5.
And Scottie Pippen announced his retirement from the NBA.
Was that the first time or second time?
Pippen only retired once.
Oh, it was Jordan.
Jordan retired twice. But so on October 5th, 2004, that was the last time the Twins won a playoff game. Who did they beat in that playoff game?
The Yankees.
Ooh,
and salt.
And that was game 1.
But it wasn't the series. They didn't beat them in the
No,
series.
that was game 1. Yeah. And then the Yankees won 3 straight to knock us out of the playoffs. And then the Yankees got absolutely torched by the Red Sox.
That's the year that they went up 3-0?
The Yankees went up 3-0 and the Red Sox came back.
funds I lost that year.
It was a big year for the Red
my
Sox, though.
Goodness.
It was a big year for the Red Sox.
Bastards.
So the Minnesota Vikings are 0-3. They lost to the Chargers this week. They're 0-3. The Packers are 2-1.
Have they played anybody professional yet? I'm serious. Have they played anybody professional yet?
So New Orleans has an outstanding defense. So, but here's the thing. So Green Bay beats New Orleans yesterday, but up until 10 minutes and 37 seconds or something like that left in the game. So fourth quarter, there's 10 minutes and 37 seconds left on the clock. It is New Orleans 17, Green Bay 0. And Green Bay wins 18-17. And we got lucky at the end because their kicker, New Orleans kicker, missed a field goal at the end. But, you know, a win is a win. I'm going to take it. It's scripted. Don't do that.
So here goes my dilemma. Some people say you can't be fans of two teams. I am a Vikings fan and a Jets fan.
Yeah.
So in my perfect world, the Vikings lose another 2 games. They trade Mr. Cousins to my Jets for a second-round pick next year.
There's a lot of talk that Cousins is.
And then we take our 2 number 2 picks for the Vikings, trade up to get the number 1 quarterback in the thing. I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
And then the Jets go on and win the Super Bowl. Woo!
I don't know. Number one draft quarterbacks have not been faring so well. You know,
our luck's gonna change.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the season plays out. Green Bay still has a lot of injured players. I mean, every team's got a lot of injured players. It's only week 3, and there's a lot of people hurt. But you know, that's the way the season goes. Guys, I also didn't mention this. Take a minute, share us out with your favorite Facebook cigar groups right now. Let everybody know we're live because we want as many people as possible to have a chance to win this fantastic prize package. But I think it is time to definitely bring on our special guest of the evening. And on How About That Cigar Live, special guests are brought to us by our friends at Drew Estate. The Liga Privada 10 Selección de Mercado is handcrafted to highlight the bold characteristics of specially curated Connecticut Criollo Capa leaf that's grown exclusively for Drew Estate by one farmer in the famed Connecticut River Valley. The name is Spanish for market selection, inspired by the old practice of selecting wrapper leaves for certain national markets by color. Drew Estate chose only the most beautiful Rosado Connecticut Criollo leaves to grace the Selección de Mercado. The Rosada Capa surrounds a blend of tobaccos from Mexico, Nicaragua, and Pennsylvania to create a cigar that is deeply balanced, bold, and sophisticated. This cigar measures 6x52 and will be available in 10-count boxes to international markets. For more information, please visit drewestate.com.
You actually are very, very good at that.
It was close. It was. I had a little,
It was pretty smooth.
Yeah.
I got to give you credit.
Thanks. Would you say I would have beat the Jets or lost to the Jets with that read?
So let's talk to our guest here.
All right, guys, let's put our hands together, if you would, please. Welcome to episode 215 of How About That Cigar Live from Drew Estates. Mr. Phan, welcome to the show, brother.
What's going on, guys?
How you doing, sir?
This is your first time on the show. We are so grateful to have you, brother. Talk to us a little bit about, we know that you're inside this evening, so you're not having a cigar with us, but tell us what you're drinking.
Yeah, some Whistle Pig 12. So I stopped by the distillery maybe about a month ago, and we picked the barrel. So when you go to their tap room, then they have a special menu. So on the special menu, I saw something that had a Chicago ingredient. So I'm from Chicago. I love the brewery, Revolution Brewing. And so they made a whiskey and a rye, and they finished it in a barrel from that that brewery. So I was like, awesome, man. And that's what I'm drinking today.
Very nice.
Ooh. What are you drinking, sir?
So I am drinking.
Hanks wants to know
this. Yeah, this is a barrel pick from. There's a local chain called Haskell's Wine and Spirits. They do a lot of barrel picks, and this is a Stellum barrel pick that they very cleverly named Black Tea Bubblegum. It's a rye and it is 118 proof.
And it smells like?
Yeah. So Raul says it smells like a wet dog, which it doesn't. I mean, it does a little. Honestly, it does a little bit. But I was saying before we went live, I've never tasted a wet dog, but it doesn't taste like a wet dog. I don't think. I mean, I'm not going to go try to sample a wet dog just to get, a comparison.
Yeah,
but yeah, it doesn't taste like wet dog.
And I am drinking Minneapolis' finest tap water.
Hey, Minneapolis has fantastic tap water. Definitely.
They do.
All right. So what do you have fired up, Raul? What are you smoking?
I'm smoking the
M81.
Same as you.
Well, I'm about to smoke it.
Oh,
yeah.
How are you gonna do that?
I know, right?
Close it up?
I know. Yeah,
Can we see some booty?
I'm gonna get that. Yeah, we're gonna see a little something.
Oh, I get so excited.
So let's get this going. I'm gonna bring out on another special guest that we see every week.
So earlier, pre-game, we smoked the
the H99 Papas Fritas.
Papas Fritas.
Yeah, that was our pregame smoke.
It's pretty tasty.
But so yeah, right now I'm gonna fire up. Can we see him? There he is. There he is. All right, so I'm gonna get this blackened M81 Toro fired up right now on the Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust toast cam. When lighting your cigar, it's important to be patient, pay close attention to detail, and focus on the tobacco. In the same way, Steve Saka brings those same qualities to the ultra premium cigars of Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust. Patience, close attention, and focus on the tobacco are the qualities that Saka and Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust have become known for. From Sober Mesa to Umbagog, Dunbarton has a blend that will fit your palate, your mood, and any occasion. Visit DunbartonCigars.com to learn more. There we go. Very nice. Do we want a little bit of this? A little bit of the booty?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of this weird thing we do. All right, let's set him down. All right, so on your first appearance on the show, one of the things we love to do is we love to learn about people, where they came from, what their story is. So give us a little bit of your background, where you grew up, and
how you got into business.
Yeah, how you got in the cigar business.
Yeah, I didn't start smoking cigars till only maybe 10 years ago. I think this year was like 10 years ago. Yeah, and I was a financial analyst in Chicago, and I won a trip to Cabo. So on that trip, I was like, hey, I want to try a Cuban cigar, right? So I go to the Hotel Humidor, grab like a Monte Cristo, and I'm like, this is kind of cool. And I went to the cigar shop when I got back to Chicago in the dead of winter, and I'm like, hey, man, like I kind of want to have a cigar. And, the guy was just like, well, what's your flavor profile? I was like, I don't know what that means. I'm just trying to get a cigar. So he gave me a Liga Privada, and I've been smoking that ever since. And how I got into the industry was, I met a lot of people through Reddit. So I come from definitely the new generation of cigar smoker, the people watching this show today, right? Real cigar geeks, and you just develop a passion from the internet, something that you never would have imagined that it would have meant anything to you. And now it's like the centerpiece of my life, right? It's like, this is what I work on every single day. And it's just like, I can't believe I got here. But, while I'm here, I'm going to enjoy it as long as I am here.
Very nice. So
did you grow up?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Did you grow up in the Chicago area then?
Yeah, I moved to Miami maybe 7 years ago. So that's how long I've been at Drew Estate. This is year 7, and it's another, awesome year. But yeah, I grew up in Chicago, and that's why I'm a Cubs fan, Bears fan, Bulls fan, Hawks fan. Those White Sox, people can, you guys beat them up, so it's all good.
So, do you want to talk at all about the Chicago Bears, or are we good?
Wow, yeah, there's a lot, right?
He's
I think we're already at that point of the season where you're like, wait, we could have a number 1 and a number 2 pick, because Carolina also sucks. And I'm like, well, I guess every Sunday is just to see how bad it is, because I mean, my CEO is also from Chicago, And by the second quarter, like, how is this shit already over? It's not even like competitive, and it's just sad. So yeah, I mean, it's rough days, man. But you know what? A new day is coming. We still have cap room, and we have 2 high draft picks, most likely, man.
Yeah, I'd say out of all the, I just, so many people had this this idea of Justin Fields, and I honestly was the same way. I was like, this kid is going to be special, and it's just I mean, all respect to him, but it just doesn't seem to be panning out. I don't know if it's play calling, if it's coaching, if it's offensive line, or what it is, but it just doesn't seem to be panning out.
Do you think that if he left the Bears and went somewhere else, you'd have a better chance of having a successful career?
Yeah, I mean, probably. But, the measure of a true Bears season, whether it's successful or not, it comes down to 2 fucking games. And that's versus Green Bay.
That's right. That's right.
The openers at home. And we lose by 38-20 or something. And most of the points were scored in garbage time. So it was just embarrassing.
It's just hideous.
Just give me 1 sec here.
Hold on, I'm about to throw up in my mouth. He puts that hat on.
Yeah, man. I mean, no, look, I was ecstatic that Aaron Rodgers left Green Bay. Just as ecstatic as I was when Brett Favre left. And then now it's been 30 years of this?
Yeah.
I'm tired, man. I was like, Jordan Love, the future is so bright. And yeah, I mean, he's winning, so you can't complain about that. And I'm like, the Bears are gonna have another bad season.
Soak it up, brother. Soak it up.
One of these days, the Packers are gonna have a downturn.
You're only 2-1, right?
2-1. It's early. It's only week 3. I'm not saying we're going to the Super Bowl. I'm just saying
that smile on your face says different.
No, I don't see the Packers going to the Super Bowl this year, but I think they'll surprise a few people.
One quick thing. I'd like to thank everybody that's watching the show right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Some new people on there. Thanks for showing up tonight.
Yeah, definitely.
And they want to know what's in Matt's glass. The internet needs to know.
Oh, well, we said already.
Wet dog.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wet dog.
The Stellum Rye, the black tea bubblegum.
He didn't have headphones, remember?
Yeah.
That's right.
Your headphones went out for a second.
Yeah, that's weird.
I didn't
That's
power
weird.
them up. Batteries, those kind of things. I'm here. I'm good.
So one of the things I'm curious about before you were in the cigar business, what were you doing for yourself?
So I was in sales when I got out of college. I didn't really have a good head on my shoulders, so I was just like, let me just I didn't have a base salary, man. So I worked in sales. I was in insurance sales, and that's with a 1099 job. And then I got another sales job, and then like 2008 hit, right? And so that was very fortunate because it gave everybody a chance to really think about where you're at, where you want to go. And, I just went to grad school. So I went and got my master's in finance. And then I spent the next, 4 years working in like corporate finance and then another 3 years working in compensation. So like I worked in numbers for a very long time. And that's actually one of the reasons probably one of the top reasons they hired me, because at the same time I got into cigars, I got onto Reddit. I met a bunch of people all the time smoking. I would show up to, the online smoking room that people would have. Back then it'd be like, Google Chat or something, right? And Google Hangout. So you'd hang out there and smoke with people. And that's how I learned a lot about cigars. And the more I did it, it helped that my best friend in kindergarten, who I hadn't talked to, like got into cigars just about the same time that I did. And so, that just fueled our mutual enthusiasm. We were both new. And now we're like, we've been smoking for 10 years plus, and it's just like, it's been a wild ride, man. I mean, I can't say that I'm not lucky. Every day is a great day.
Yeah.
Where'd you go to college at?
So I went to Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, and then I never even smoked, anything. And then I got my master's at Loyola in Chicago. So that's in downtown Chicago. And even then, then I started smoking cigars like very periodically, like maybe once a month. And if I met up with like the Reddit people and I'd take like 2 trains and somebody'd have to pick me up and I'd be at a cigar lounge. Because in Chicago, you don't have to drive. Like nobody drives, right? Because driving in the traffic is just ridiculous. And you go to like these lounges where, if you've ever been to Casa de Monte Cristo in the suburbs of Chicago, they have vintage room, probably one of the nicest lounges in America. And you know what was great was I went back to Chicago in July, and I met up with the same dudes, you know. And I was like, "You are the guys that got me into this shit. And if you were a bunch of assholes, I would never be doing any of this shit. So you guys are badass, and like, you know, hey, it's great you guys are here, and we're still fucking having a great time."
Do you miss the Chicago weather?
Yeah, actually, you know, the one thing you can't get in Florida, it's called cold air. It might show up 1 week in February. You know, I put the top down, I'm like, it's 50 out, but all right, cool, man. And people are wearing heavy coats, and I'm like, get this shit out of here, man. So, no way.
So on after your college and your first sales jobs that you had, whatnot, and then you started with Drew Estate. I mean, just talking to PCA, you know, you've got an extensive history working with Drew Estate. So, like, walk us through that career path with Drew Estate. Like, where'd you start at? What'd you do, like, you know, before you did what you're in today, and how did you get progressively through each position and bring us up to speed to where you're doing with Drew Estate today?
Yeah, you know, like I said, I got into cigars as a financial analyst, and it's kind of an expensive hobby in Chicago. There's a lot of tax on it.
Oh yeah.
And when I started diving in, you know, when you're on Reddit, you're always trying to trade cigars. It's the same thing as bourbon. You accumulate and you want to give, and that's what the things like cigar community always teaches you, right? Give more than you take. So I'd always try to give more, and then like my wallet just was stretched too thin, right? So I'm like, okay, I need a new job. So I got a new job, and like that continued to fund my habit in cigars because like it paid me way more. And all I did was I spent all my money on cigars and then cigar travel because, you know, when you're on Reddit, there would be herfs. You know, there'd be a herf in Philadelphia, it could be in California, it could be in Chicago, and you just travel around. And I was like, okay, I have a lot of free time. I'm gonna go travel these events. You know, I'd go to like Tatuaje Mega Herf, or, you know, just a giant herf with like 40, 50 people. And, you know, I was always lucky to be able to do that and always find super cool people that probably I would smoke with on Google Hangouts. And then we were like, hey, why don't I go over there, and there's a big cigar event, so let's hang out. And so I did that for a lot of years, and at the same time running, you know, our cigars on Reddit. And I kind of treated like more seriously than some people, because I was like, all right, let's make it about making cigars. Let's find some more discounts for the community. Let's bring in famous cigar people to talk to the community. I mean, it's similar to what you guys are doing, right? It's like, hey, we want to share stories about cigars, share knowledge to our community and our audience. And that's how I treated it when I was doing that. And you know, eventually I found another cigar community, you know, Cigar Federation. And, you know, one year I went on a safari with them. You know, they had some openings. I was like, fuck yeah, I am all in on this trip, man. And when I went down to the factory the first time in 2015, I mean, you know, it's just amazing when you go to the Drew Estate factory and see thousands of people banging out cigars in the Grand Salon. And, you know, even to this day, when I go back down to the factory, I go to that room and I'm like, this is why we work.
Yeah.
All these people here, they have a job if we're doing our job. And this is why we need to keep doing a bang out job, because it's for all these people that are doing all the hard work here and that have it really rough in Nicaragua. And you know, it gives you a deeper sense of purpose to work, knowing that like, hey, the work we do feed families, and it's virtuous at the end of the day, you know?
That's one of the coolest things. And mine was the same timing. And you and I have talked about this before, that my first visit to Nicaragua was a cigar safari at Drew Estate headquarters, you know, at La Gran Fabrica Drew Estate, November of 2015, man. And I was just, I mean, I was already many years down the deep rabbit hole of being a cigar lover, but that just took me over the edge. I mean, I was absolutely, but just that first time getting to that facility, seeing the people working their asses off, seeing the way the communities building in the areas of Esteli and surrounding areas, I was all in, like, instantly. And then the whole rest of the trip, and then times that I've been back to Nicaragua since then, it just strengthens that desire we have to spread the cigar story, to spread the gospel of premium cigars, you know, around the world. And it's just, it's kind of magical in a way.
I think, Justin, we're going to have to go soon. I think we're gonna have to
I'm working on it. I got
post
some
it.
things I got to take care of, but I'm working on it.
So one of the things I want to touch on, because we've been talking to our viewers and our loyal social media followers for the last few days. We've been talking to you guys about this giveaway. So
There's a giveaway.
there's a giveaway. I know.
No way.
All right. So again, we're going to give you guys just a little preview here. We have the black and forgive me, I'm not going to take it out of the box, but you guys know what a cigar rest looks like. This is the M81 Maduro cigar rest. Raul will take it out of the box. And we got blackened M81 torch lighter. And this one I am taking out of the box because these torch lighters are ridiculous. I mean, they're so cool. They got the coolest action on them. So there's the Drew Estate blackened M81 torch lighter. It's got this great trigger on it. Lifts up that top. There's no butane in it right now because you can't ship butane lighters with butane in them. Plus, it's got a punch on the bottom there. So very, very cool lighter. And show off that ashtray there, Raul. This ashtray is so cool. Guitar shaped ashtray because, of course, James Hetfield was instrumental. Get it? Instrument.
What band are they on?
What? Metallica, you jackass.
They play.
You know
they
that.
play jazz music, right?
Oh yeah, totally jazz music.
Definitely.
The ashtray's massive. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're
face.
if you're not a neat freak, you could probably not have to empty that thing for.
Look at the guys with the two biggest heads in the cigar industry. So compare that.
Was he talking about out here?
I think he's talking about you.
I said the two, because none of the hats ever fit you. So
Yeah, the hats don't fit me.
He's mean. Everybody's mean tonight.
So, and then this blackened M81 bottle carrier. This thing is legit. So you open this thing up. You want to bring some bottles of your favorite distilled spirits to a party. You know, this is to a herf. This is the way to do it. It's got a strap in here. You can put it over your shoulder. There's spots in here for, even if you want to put cigar accessories, bottle openers, whatever you want. But this is to cart your favorite distilled spirits back and forth to your favorite herfs. And we want to thank you and the team at Drew Estate for making that giveaway possible, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
No problem. I mean, I just saw the guitar ashtray on eBay. So people, it's great when you have great swag because people sell it on eBay. It's amazing. And it just shows you like, hey, sometimes you see our consumers and they're like, I'm having tough financial times, and they start selling their swag and they survive. And I'm like, I'm glad we create something of value for people and they're willing to pay for it. Hey man, I love this stuff. It's a fun to like play around with all it and see like, hey, and we're always going like, what is the new hot shit that we can do? What do people want that they really don't want to pay for, but we can just give it to them? So let's go make some cool stuff, and that's what we do a lot of.
Well, I would really like that hat you have on. I've been eyeing that thing. That's money.
It's on AliExpress and it's about $3. So I tell everybody, China, $3, easy.
So this M81 Maduro really hit the market with like a ton of bricks, man. So give our viewers kind of a reminder about the cigar, the origin of the cigar, and tell us how the market is responding to it.
Yeah, Blackened. We released this in November with the Freestyle Live. It's really exceeded our wildest forecasts. I mean, every year we're trying to make cigars, and we plan out, hey, how many cigars do we think we need? And the response has been way higher than we ever thought. And when you think about it, it's not just putting the Metallica name on a cigar or something like that. We've learned that, hey, if you want to make a cigar that's going to be successful for many years to come, then, make it so that the tobacco is actually really good in that cigar. It's not just about putting a sticker on it and telling people, hey, this is expensive. This is not even an expensive cigar. It's Maduro to the core. And that's something that we really believed in when we made the cigar. And we're like, hey, let's make it Mexican San Andreas. Let's put the Connecticut broadleaf in there. Let's put all Nicaraguan fillers, including, Pennsylvania Green River one sucker. So, but at the same time, when we were making a cigar, we're also working with a partner. So think about, okay, we have partners that need to approve this. So they also need to think about the cigar and how much they like it. And they have their ideas of what's going to be appealing for the consumer. Because we're always thinking about when we make a new cigar, it's like, well, who is this cigar for? It's a constant question that people ask when we come up with new ideas about a new cigar, new swag, or whatever the case is. And so, even to this day, I mean, look, we've worked our factory out to the max, just to make sure that we get our back orders, but there's still some back orders out on a single size. So it's been commercially very successful for us. I think people love this cigar and they've been coming back to it with the reorders. We've had really great events with this and a great partnership. If you're at the Barn Smoker, there was a lot of sampling of Black and American whiskey and all the various expressions, including all their collaborations, which, they're making great juice as well. The whiskey, if you haven't tried that one. But so on the tobacco side, I mean, I think it's like a really great cigar but not going to blow your head off, with a lot of deep flavor and also like the bourbon. So, I mean, it's great partnership.
Yeah, it's been, I mean, Drew Estate has a long history of just consumer engagement. And just like you said, listen to what the customers ask for. And when you guys sit down and talk as a team at Drew Estate, you say, what are we doing? Who's it for? What's it all about? Why, you ask the most important question, which is why. Why are we doing this? If we're going to put this project out, the why has to be really strong, and I think that's why there's been so many highly sought after releases, over the years, and the customers come running, and there's no denying that by any stretch. It's been a long road, but man, Drew Estate is the customers line up. Yeah. And that's a good thing. There's loyalty there. There's brand loyalty, and you don't get that just by there's more to it than just swag and cool stuff and hip hop music at PCA. There's more to it than that. There's a connection with the consumer. That's how you get brand loyalty, is connection with the consumer.
Great cigars, and the swag doesn't hurt. They're second to none. Drew Estate's second to none with the swag.
Yeah, the swag game is there. There is no peer, in the swag game.
I mean, think about this, right? The number one criteria when we're evaluating a new cigar, new product, and just thinking about it is, does anyone care? Because if you have a room of cigar enthusiasts, like hardcore, like collectors of cigars, people that have gone to, 1,000 herfs all combined and have been smoking forever and been around cigar people all their lives, right? When something's exciting to a room of cigar people, that you're probably on the right track. And so, that and you'd be surprised. Some people be like, isn't trying to make money the number one object or the best cigar ever? I mean, I'd say the best cigar is also number two, but like number one is, does anyone care? And if you do that, and people always go, good brands touch people emotionally, right? But if you really break it down to, well, don't you have to be the consumer to understand the consumer? I mean, like, I don't have a degree in marketing, but I've been around cigar consumers. I've been some of the, hardcore cigar consumer, and I still talk, most of the people I know are cigar consumers that like really love cigars. Not, the average cigars consumer smokes one cigar a month. Now, when you start talking to the people doing, the 80-20 rule, the 20% of the people buying 80% of the cigars, I mean, we're it. It's us. It's the people watching this show. It's the people in lounges that are like, yeah, this event's coming up. I'm going to get 2-3 boxes or something like that, and, we're fortunate to be a part of the cigar community. And that's why it's like, it's not hard to find great ideas because we're all from the same community. Like everybody in the Drew Estate marketing department, more or less, is a hardcore cigar enthusiast. And because we're cigar enthusiasts, and when we see something that we all like or like a new idea, hey, man, it's going to fly. Because we have a game, and it's kind of like dog pile up. We're going to throw up an idea. I hired a new guy, and I'm like, here's the deal. You're going to throw up an idea, and everybody on the team is going to shoot it down. Then you're going to come up with a new, better idea of that and throw it to the salespeople. Then they're going to shoot it down. And then we're going to come up with a third idea. And then by that point, we'll have a really great plan, a really great idea, and a really great way to make it actually happen. Because we talk to each other every day and we shoot each other's ideas down and we don't get upset about it. It's just like, well, this idea won't work because of X, Y, Z, because everybody has a brand idea of a new cigar idea for me. But I'm always like, well, I'll shoot their idea down first. I'm like, well, bring me a better idea, or like, you know, and sometimes we find an even better idea. So it's an iterative process, right? But it's also all about like, let's throw out crazy ideas. You know, I hired a new guy, and he's like, the old place I used to work with had so many like rules, you couldn't do new stuff. And I'm like, you're expected to do new stuff here. If you get hired here, you're not doing the same thing that the person before you did. You're expected to be like, where is the new shit? Where is the new ideas? What's cooler? And how do we make this better? Because like doing the same thing is just boring. We're not doing that. That's like below the bar.
Yeah. Well, and any creative enterprise, whether it's music or making movies or writing a book or something like that, you always, you know, if you're in a room with a songwriter, then you're going to see crumpled up papers all over the floor. If you're in a room with a guy making a movie, there's going to be snippets of film, you know, all over the cutting room floor. There's a lot of bullshit that you have to wade through before you, and not that it's bullshit because it's necessary to the process, but you know, the cream rises to the top, and you get through a lot of those ideas. And, you know, like so many, even athletes have said over the years, you know, you got to fail over and over and over again before you succeed. But when it hits, I mean, it's worth all the pain and the blood, sweat, and tears, and just the frustration of having so many, you know, non-starter ideas in a row that finally one hits, and you know, it's worth it. It really is, and I know that's what you guys do.
Yeah, I mean, it even comes down to the roots of Drew Estate, right? Look at it. I mean, we don't come from a family with some great name. We didn't inherit some awesome business. We had to build it ourselves. And I'm like, it's the latest generation of people here. I've been there 7 years. So I'm like, I'm part of a generation of people that have been there. And I'm like, we are moving to our new spaceship. You know, we're building our new office out, and we're like, we're the ones that built this, like together. And you know, the fact that we all trust each other, we can go up and throw out crazy ideas and not feel like, okay, this guy's gonna think I'm crazy, but it's fine. We want to be crazy, and we want to challenge the status quo, because like doing it the same way everybody else does it is kind of boring. So we want to do something different, and we want to like have fun while we do it, because that's what like this industry lets you do. And if you can do it, then do it, man. Like, look at us. It's Monday night, 10 o'clock, and we're having some whiskey and having a great time just chilling and sharing, you know. And I'm like, that is why, like, you can never complain when you work in cigars or around cigars, man. You can never complain. Yeah, there might be some like sad ass bastard, but that's okay. Like, they come and go.
I got a question for you. I know you guys are always into the new. You always want what's hot, what's coming up. How do you keep your other cigars, your staples, like the number 9, the T52, some of those older ones that are kind of your bread and butter? How do you keep people interested in, besides being great cigars, how do you keep them going back to that with the new stuff? How do you juggle all that?
You know, it's reinforcing the brand messaging, right? What's the story of it? Why is it special? Do people like remember and know why it's special? And also making sure that the cigars are great at the end of the day. If you don't have good tobacco or good cigars, and you try to make it, you know, people can buy it once and they don't come back to it. I mean, one of the things is we're like, the first sale is the easiest sale. And just because you sold a lot right out the gate doesn't mean it's a good sign it's going to do well. But really, the reorders are going to really show you what and who cares about it to go back into their wallet. And their consumers are like, hey, I still need this. And that's why when we come out with the cigar, it's like, hey, let's make something, you know, not just good, but great. Something that we would want to smoke again and again and again. And, you know, the last Freestyle Live cigar, our H99 Papas Fritas, I looked at it and I was like, every customer that bought it again, you know. And I'm like, well, that's a really great sign and confidence from the trade, confidence for our consumers that like we are putting out the good cigars. You know, you don't go rebuy a cigar if you don't like it, unless you're just you know, a masochist. But you know, most people, like, if they don't like a cigar, they're not coming back to it. And you only get maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 chances. And if it's not good enough, you'll end on to the next one, because there's a billion cigars out there. So when we put out a cigar, we're like, we want people to talk about it. You know, like we put out the H99 Super Ancho, a 6x60, and you know, I get swarmed by people that are like, yo, I don't smoke this cigar, but this is amazing. I was like, well, yeah. I mean, if you really focus on it and say and demand that, like, hey, we want this to be really good. We want this to be a different style of cigar, and people can actually taste it. I'm like, our consumers taste the difference of like a good cigar, not a good cigar, and something that's just different that they didn't expect. And it pays, they pay attention to it. And I'm like, that's how we know we have great cigars. And we're trying to serve that consumer and make the best cigars we can every single day. I mean, I talked to our factory manager, and the first time I met him, he did me a favor on rushing something, and he was like, as long as we're able to make the best cigars, then that's what I care about, And I'm like, if that's the top dude in Nicaragua saying that at our factory, guess what? Everybody else in their hearts think they want to have that high bar of standard too, and say like, our job here is to make the best cigars. Like I go to work and I'm like, I work for the best cigar company out there. I don't care how many dollars other cigar companies make. I don't care if you do Cuban cigars. I'm like, this is to me the best cigar company. And how do I make my cigar company a better company by going to work today and bringing more value? And I'm like, it's easy because it's like, we love this place. And when you love something and it shows up in your product, great cigar company. I mean, like your product speaks to who you are. It's the same thing. You go to the Fuente factory, it's beautiful, and I'm like, the first thing I heard when somebody showed me the picture, I was like, that speaks to who they are. Like they care about the people, the environment, and making it great. And I'm like, we want great cigars. We want great cigar experiences for our consumers. We want our trade partners to have like, profitability while they sell our cigars. And we want to be a trusted partner, and we want to be a part of people's lives. I mean, how many people add us on Facebook for only one reason, just to see what we're doing and be a part of their lives? So I'm like, well, I want them to be a part of my life too, and that's what being part of the cigar community is about. And we serve our community. And that's really like, when you think about happiness and like what a good life is, it's like you serve your community and you're a part of that community and like you do good things. And I'm like, I can never be like, sad about anything, because I'm like, life has been great, and working at Drew Estate is, probably, it's definitely a high watermark in my career. No doubt about it.
Yeah. Justin, you had something.
No, I was just talking about the culture and how they built up, an overall culture in the cigars. It's a whole different atmosphere when you see Drew Estate at the trade show, or just different things overall. But then talking about the blending process and bringing all these new cigars in the market, like what's your role? Because I know I've talked to you a little bit about that before, and you have your hands a little bit into blending the cigars and out there. What's that process look like for you guys when you're trying to bring something new to the market, and what's your role in that?
Yeah, I'm the brand director at the company, so I've had my fingerprints on almost every new product that's come out in the last 7 years. So I got promoted to that role I've been director for now maybe about a year and a half, and then before that I was a senior manager in charge of all the brands. So in a very short period of time, I've gone through to having no marketing experience, right? Like no education in marketing, no experience doing any marketing. And now I've been running the brands for a prolonged period of time, which has been a great period for our company. And when we think about new, I talked to Willie the other day about this. We were in Nicaragua and we're just banging our heads against the wall because we're like, we want to make all these new cigars. And one of the things when we come out with a new cigar, we're like, well, this is how much tobacco we think we're going to need for this. This is the size, the scope of the project. And, our factory team was like, here's a list of all the tobaccos available. And they're like, well, and we're sitting and we're like, that's not a lot of tobacco, man. Like to make new products. Cause like when you have core products that are doing well, like you have to have other tobaccos to use because you're using the products on your core product, which for a good company, your core lines are what, make your bread every day. It's the people buying Cuba Cuba. It's the people buying Deadwood. It's not the people buying like Year of the Rat. Year of the Rat is like a small production run and it's special, versus like things that we want to sell every single day, day in and day out. So, I was sitting there with Willie and I was like, what is the difference between now and like when you started here, dude? And he was like, it's the scale. When you have like people that, and every year you're succeeding in providing a lot of value for your retail partners and your consumers that want more of your cigars. Also in the face of a massive labor crisis in Nicaragua, it's a challenge, man, on the labor side, on the tobacco side. I mean, this coming year, we have our commitments for our production team to find us new tobaccos that will be the basis of our new cigar products. So, we're always trying to experiment with some new tobaccos as well, because like I said, the existing portfolio, the drag on our inventory, it's like, hey man, like we buy a lot of tobacco, but we're always looking for new tobacco because it's like we have to allocate that to the new projects and have a different profile of cigar. And so, let's say I go down to the factory, I think our next trip is going to be down in November. We've saved a lot of samples for probably 2025. I think the 2024 lineup is already done and it's September. So this is probably the first year that we've finished this early. So I have a huge sense of relief. You know, I told you guys earlier, it's like, you know, we're getting prepped up for PCA already. And, you know, the whole vision of my team has also been like, you know, hey, we also share product development. So tomorrow I have a product development team meeting, and it's all about like, hey, what are the next hurdles to getting us to the next step of the next generation of new products? You know, and we think about the tobacco, we think about the forecasting, how much do we need, the qualities we're looking for, and what market segments we're looking to attack. You know, there's different things out there. You know, recently people have been putting out $30 cigars, and you know, my opinion is like, well, you know, what's the tobacco that backs a $30 cigar? You know,
Yeah.
are people just saying, hey, it's $30 because I want to put a shiny sticker on it? Or is it $30 because it's a rare tobacco that's never been done before? And I'm like, if we do that, that's what I want to do, you know. And so we want to work on our cigars. You know, there's a high standard. I work with Willie a lot, and you know, like I said, we're gonna go down there. We have a ton of samples. We've been waiting to evaluate and try. There's gonna be some number that we're gonna say, hey, a lot of these are great. You know, Willie always has the first like smoke of all these new samples, and if he doesn't like it, it doesn't fly, right? Once he's good with it, then he passes it down to some of the marketing people. And if we're good with it, after we look at all the tobacco, we're like, all right, it's go. And, you know, we've learned in years past where we didn't have tobacco when we launched products sometimes. And, you know, it's like, hey, how much tobacco do we think we're going to need over the next 2 or 3 years? That way it's like, you know, I've talked to a lot of retailers, and, you know, this cigar industry is definitely revolves around novelty, right? So when you go to any cigar shop, you know, every day you're, hey, what's new? What's new? What's new? What's new? What's new? And you know, I always hear retailers that say, you know, the worst thing is when a new cigar comes out, I get all my guys to go from their old cigars to the new cigar. Then the new cigar is out of stock, and you know, the company can't tell me when it's going to come back. So now you got all these people excited. They spend all their money on a new cigar, and it's just not there anymore. And that's a huge mistake that a lot of companies do, because it's just like, you have to plan for success, right? If you plan for success, if you really believe in your products, then you're going to make as many of them as you can, because it's like, hey, we want to run out the gate strong. We want our trade partners to have a great product that they can sell again and again. And we want our consumers to be able to find the cigar easily. When you make it easy for people to find stuff, guess what? They'll probably buy it again. If you make hurdles for people to buy stuff, you know, it can be an uphill battle, you know, unless you have like the hottest cigar ever made. I don't know, you know.
Yeah.
You brought up Willie, and that's Willie.
Willie Herrera.
Excuse me. Just for the viewers that don't know who that is, what's coming out with him? Does he have a new cigar coming out? Excuse me for stuttering here. Does he have a new cigar coming out? He's one of my favorite blenders in the game.
Yeah, you know, he has always new cigars coming out. He's blending all of the cigars. So yeah, every year he has new cigars coming out. Like I said, we've been working on 2024 lineup, and it's awesome, because it's like we have all these ideas, and you put them on paper, and you're like, okay, let's try to make a cigar out of it. And then you got to order the packaging, and then the packaging gets there, and then box one shows up in our warehouse, and it shows up in our office, and we're like, wow, man, we really took this to the finish line. And, you know, Willie has his footprint on every single project out there, you know. So when you think about our portfolio and the breadth of our portfolio, from Liga Privada H99 or Selection de Mercado down to, you know, our factory smokes, Willie has his fingerprints through all of that. You know, I remember the day we smoked factory smokes, he's like, hey, check out this Maduro. It's Mexican San Andreas. So like, let me try that, man. And I'm like, for what it is, it's pretty damn good. I mean, like, it's not my cigar, but like, I think somebody that smokes this style cigar at $2 or less than $2, you know, I can easily say this is the best, like, you know, $2 cigar on the planet. But that's what we try to do every day. We try to make good cigars, and working with him has been awesome, because his palate is great. And you know, I go down there in Nicaragua sometimes. It's like, hey, we got to smoke like 15 cigars today. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, that's too bad.
I had a mind.
Well, one of the things I'm curious about, and I've just based on the conversations I've had with you in the past and other people at Drew Estate, is about company culture. And you touched on it a little bit already, but you know, I've been, you know, at some different corporate environments, in one now that's very different than what I've been in the past. One for a few years ago that I was there for many years and basically trained salespeople. And the corporate culture, you know, there's sometimes you'll see a corporate culture that's kind of stagnant and really not healthy, because you see a lot of people, and it kind of usually goes from the top down. You see people that go in with this attitude when a situation comes up. They're like, oh, that's not my role, or that's somebody else's.
It's not my job.
That's not my job. That's somebody else's job. And especially when I was doing sales training, it's like that should never be your answer, kind of thing. And I learned that the hard way at a, you know, in a work situation once, where I basically said that, and then later on I realized, oh man, what a horrible answer that was. And you know, I learned through, you know, my own mistake. And I know that, like you're saying, you've got product development meetings and meetings with other groups at Drew Estate. It seems like, from all the people I've talked to, and I've talked to salespeople, I've talked to brand managers, I've talked to you as the director of brand management, and you know, people who work in the factory and all kinds of different roles at Drew Estate. The company culture at Drew Estate really seems to be almost like, what can I do? And that's such a healthy kind of environment for people to work in. That it feels to me like that's going to give an edge when it comes to crunch time. You know, when it's like, okay, we got 3 months left to get this product in the hands of our retailers. Talk to us about that crunch time and how important it is to have that corporate culture where everybody's just like, all hands on deck, whatever I can do, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, you know, some people have accused Drew Estate of being corporate, and you know, to some degree, it might be. You need PowerPoint slides to persuade people sometimes. You know, I think when you work in a company that has a high degree of transparency, you know, when I worked at the company, the salespeople wouldn't learn about the new products till almost the time they're on the trade show floor. You know, and that's just not right. So, you know, we opened up the kimono all across the company. You know, if I go talk to, you know, our salespeople, I can ask them about the business and they'll tell me what's going on. You know, people want to talk to me about tobacco and new products. I'll talk to them all day about it. And that's part of being functional, the transparency to understand your counterparties throughout the organization and what problems they're trying to solve. Because, you know, I mean, I talk about being in between the lines, and I'm like the in between the lines of outlook between the hours, right, of the meetings. That's the time when you walk around the office and you're busy as a bumblebee. Hey, what's going on over here? You know, you're talking personal stuff and catching up with people on a personal basis because you respect them, you care about them. But also it's like, hey, what's going on with this thing and that thing, or what are you working on, or what's a pain in your ass? And you know, everybody has the look to work on integrated solutions. You know, a lot of where companies fail is people don't communicate, or they don't understand how to solve a problem collectively. You know, we're constantly trying to solve problems collectively. You know, I think a couple Fridays ago, I spent 3 hours talking to our salespeople and really delving into, hey, what do you see? Tell me about this thing or this new thing that we did. How's it impacting your business? Or is there a better way we should be doing this? And the ability, like I said, hey, look, if you can throw your ideas up for criticism and get them shot up with a bunch of bullet holes and make a new plan, at some point you're going to come up with a pretty bulletproof plan because you've thought out all the ways things can go wrong because you listened to all the people that have seen the problems before. It's not rocket science, but I mean, it's about just being open communicators and caring about the people around you and saying like, hey, I have responsibility to make this company better, and I can help you out with this. Then like, let's go do this. I mean, it's like, hey, we go to Barn Smokers and we're still picking up garbage and moving all that stuff around. It's not like, oh, that's that guy's problem. No, it's everybody's problem to be, you know, I was packing backpacks in the registration line. And I'm like, well, I don't have to do that if I don't want to, but I'm going to do it because like, why should these guys break their back if I'm not willing to do the same thing for them? You know, and I'm like, we're all part of the same team. And
Yeah,
that team's got to win and look good every single day, you know? So we care about each other and we want to, we're very also achievement oriented and we want to win. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm always like, if we can win, then like, hey, I don't care, man. I'm all for it.
Yeah. So we talked about Cigar Safari. You know, that's where I first, you know, fell in love with and went completely all in with premium cigars. And, you know, there was such a long period of time where so many people, so many consumers kind of had the same experience I did, where that's where they fell in love with premium cigars and got to see it firsthand and see the people and, you know, see the fields and see the factories and, you know, see the way the leaf is processed and the way the leaf is cared for and the cigars are lovingly rolled. And obviously COVID threw a loop into the whole world, and Cigar Safari was an unfortunate casualty of that. Is there a possibility that we're going to see the Cigar Safari program reboot someday?
Yeah, you know, I go back to the factory and we still have our facilities there. We still have the pool. We still have our art studio, and all those things are still there. You want to look at the coming year, you know, maybe we may be opening that back up on a very limited basis. It might just be media. It might just be, you know, a group of retailers. I don't know. You know, we're working on that plan. You know, but, you know, I'd also say, like, when you think about barn smoker, how many more people can you get together on a barn smoker? I mean, I recognize, because I've been a direct beneficiary of being on Safari. I mean, think about me, right? I went on my first trip on 2015. I was like, I love that so much. And by 2016, I went back again. By 2017, I work at the company, and I'm just like, I'm lucky. I hopped the fence and I can still go down to the factory. But yeah, we're working on that plan, you know, but certainly one of the things that we put our focus on is barn smoker.
Yeah.
So if you've been to a barn smoker recently, every year we're expanding that barn smoker. So there's an audience of people that go to the barn smoker. And I'd say about 50% of people, you know, are new people that have never been to a barn smoker in their life. And 50% of people can't live without it, you know, or you know, so it's trying to expand our reach with people, and like, how do we impact them and give them the best cigar experiences? And certainly Safari, you know, is, I mean, it doesn't matter how many times you've been, you want to go back there, but we want to make Barn Smoker that same type of platform where people can go back there year in, year out. Because, you know, the number one reason, we've done the surveying with our consumers, and we're like, well, what do people really care about when they go to Barn Smoker? Cigars is number two. Can you guess what reason number one is?
Community.
Yeah, meeting people is number one. And so if we can give a platform for people and invest our resources to be like, let's get 800, 1,000 people onto a tobacco farm and teach them like what is going on this farm. And they can smoke that same cigar from that farm. The level of personal ownership that people feel for the brand, going like, this is my brand. Like, when you go to Connecticut, people don't, like, they go there and they're like, they're the hardest core, because they're like, this is my backyard. This is Liga Privada, the best cigars, and this is born right here. And I'm like, that's right. It is born there. And so I think about, like, you go down to Florida, right? And Jeff Borschowitz's Florida Sun-Grown Farm. You can go in the field and plant the tobacco. So when you smoke that cigar a couple of years later, you're like, I planted the tobacco in the field. I mean, there's nothing like that, right? So we're always trying to bring those experiences to people, let people, like, you know, the number one activation that people love is like rolling cigars, man. Like, I mean, like, have you ever done that down in Miami, you know, at El Titan de Bronze? It's a special thing. If you go down to any factory that you roll cigars, it's like everybody wants to do it and no one's good at it. I mean, I could roll a great 7x80 or something that's not very tight, but it'll burn and I can taste it, you know. I mean, maybe I get down to like a 6x50, but not even close, but you know.
Do you plan on expanding the barn smokers, like Midwest, up Minnesota, maybe?
Minnesota barn smoker.
Yeah, absolutely. This coming year, we're going to expand the geographies and expand our reach. You know, because we recognize there are geographies that like we haven't made it to, and it's a shame because like we love to be around people and people love us, and we're going to spend that time. We've got a bigger team now, and we've had time for them to make up the plans of, hey, what's the exciting events that it can be like a couple-hour drive or very short flight versus like not everybody can go down to Pennsylvania and Connecticut. I mean, for some people, that's crossing the whole country or there's no direct flight. So we're expanding our event platforms. We're going to have new event experiences, and I think it's going to be something where it's like, well, look, I mean, people know what we're known for, which is like excitement, making stuff where it's fun, making a community where you can hang out with other people just like you. And that's what we're going to achieve in 2024. And I'm excited about it. You know, we'll reveal it at the time that it's right. And people are like, what? And we're like, yeah, that's what we've been planning. I mean, like I said, we've already planned out all of our cigars for next year. Samples are done, packaging concepts are done, and I'm like, all right, now it gives us time to build up our events, build up our digital, and everything else that makes it fun. And while we go on and make great cigars, you know.
And one thing too, from our viewer, you mentioned Jeff Borchowitz and the FSG farm. How's this farm doing since the Hellstorm? And then also another comment: are there any new FSG blends in the works with Drew Estate and the FSG farm?
Yeah, I mean, certainly with the farm, I mean, every year is subject to whatever the weather can get you, right? And what you try to do every year is grow more tobacco than you need because of this like instability and inconsistency in weather and tobacco due to it. Luckily on Jeff's farm, you know, he grows tobacco twice a year. And so from that perspective, like, you know, I mean, tobacco has just gotten more expensive across the board all over the place. But yeah, we're going to be visiting his farm probably next week. And we have a couple team members going out there just to scout out the farm. We have our floor barn smoker coming November 11th. So Veterans Day, we'll be doing a huge fundraiser for Cigars Warriors. We're going to have some great stuff for barn smoker. And with regards to, you know, Florida Sungrown, I mean, it's been an amazing tobacco to work with. I remember my first time at the factory was in 2015, and I remember I sat down next to Willie Herrera as a consumer, like, I don't know, wow, this is a master blender, dude. That's amazing, right? And he was telling me about this tobacco, and he's like, I don't know what to do with it. It's a new tobacco, and you know, and then as the years have gone by, the tobacco has gotten better and better and better. It's Corojo. And it's the first tobacco grown in Florida since the 1970s. And it's got a very sweet note to it, even if you smoke it unfermented. So if you're on the farm and you actually smoke like a fresh farm roll, it has a high degree of sweetness to it. And yeah, we've worked on other blends and samples and things of that like. It's just a matter of, you know, when can we find the capacity to do it? How many things can we focus on at a singular point? You know, every year we're putting out a huge cigar release. And when you think about the scale of when you put out a new cigar release for Drew Estate, you know, I always tell our sales guy, it's like bolting on another factory. So, you know, it used to be the sales guy would be like, hey, why don't we have 4 or 5 releases for everybody this year? I was like, because we can't make that many cigars. You know, like when you have something and you can convince a lot of people that, hey, people trust us in our new cigars. They're like, you know, Drew Estate hasn't let me down. They make great cigars. And hey, there's going to be great swag and great events. And that's why people come to our events and follow us. I mean, you ask any retailer, hey, is your Drew Estate event different than any other company's events? And the answer is 100%. Yeah, it's going to be different. It's a different crowd of people, a different energy, because that's our brand. That's our people. That's our tribe. You know, and we built that tribe. You know, you think about JD, he spent 20, 30 years on the road. You know, constantly just engaging with people and building the tribe that people want to belong to. And I'm like, I'm fortunate that like I was a huge fan of cigars and Drew Estate, and now I work for the company. You know, and I'm like, I'm super fortunate because of that. The experience of being a consumer, you know, helps me understand what the consumers want, right? Like, is there something different? And with 20 Acre Farm, that's just another different tobacco that not a lot of people have access to. But we're like, through partnership, we want to put out a cigar that tastes different, and it is not like just every other, you know, Connecticut shade cigar out there.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, there's got to be enough tobacco to go around, and not just the FSG tobacco. If it's pretty much any blend you guys work on, you know, that old phrase, you can't rob Peter to pay Paul. You know, if there's this new blend that, you know, Willie makes, you know, a couple hundred of them, and you know, you guys try them out, and it's like, oh, this is the one, but then you realize, okay, the tobacco, there's a key tobacco that we use in the filler that we just cannot get enough of this tobacco, because if we do, then it's going to take away from making Undercrown Shade, or it's going to take away from making 20 Acre Farm, or it's going to take away from making League of Nine or something like that, you know, because like you said earlier, those core blends, that's what got you on the Billboard charts, and you don't want to fuck around with that, you know, you because otherwise you're gonna risk your loyalty there. So it's a difficult balance, I know, for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, not only that, I mean, it's a massive chessboard, right? It's like consumer consumption changes, the tobacco industry and our competition changes. You know, everyone's trying to put out new cigars all the time. So when I look at projects of today, I'm like, if we plant tobacco in January, we're not getting that tobacco till 2026. And that's the reality. It's the amount of fermentation time it needs. You don't rush any of that. You do the right things. There's a saying in business, if you do the right things, money comes, right? And we're like, well, if we get this tobacco and we grow it, and it's genuinely different tobacco, not just some other Habano, and we're just going to call it some name. It is actually like some hybrided thing or tobacco that hasn't been used. And we're constantly looking for, something that has a different taste profile, and just something that it's like we can be proud of at the end of the day. Because like I said, the cigars that you put out speak to who you are. And if we're demanding, high quality and a genuine difference in a brand and in the tobacco that backs it up, then that's what it takes. And I'm like, right now, we have some tobaccos where we're like, we have enough tobacco, this experimental tobacco we haven't used to last us several years. We have other tobaccos where we're like, okay, this has now gotten in the curing barns, and now we'll need some degree of fermentation that you constantly check on after a certain period of time to see how it burns, see if the taste improves or changes or how it changes. And then we have projects that like haven't even begun yet where we're like, all right, we need to find some seeds. So there's a lot of stages of where we're at with various parts of our product development, down to the tobacco side or on the processing side, right? It's like, hey, we did barrel fermenting tobacco, and that's been a different process. I mean, it's a tradition that goes back hundreds of years, even back to the Native Americans. But I mean, that's what distinguishes our company. It's like, hey, we have fire cured tobaccos. There's not a lot of fire cured tobaccos left in premium cigars, but we're like, we will hold on to that tradition. I mean, Kentucky has been doing that for a super long period of time. You could look up agricultural books from the Department of Agriculture from the 60s and look at the map of where tobacco was grown, Maryland and Kentucky, the heavy areas where you wouldn't think there's a lot of tobacco grown out there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're always on the forefront. We're looking always for new tobaccos because we're like, the existing tobaccos have to go to the things that we already make. The new tobaccos will get us to a different taste profile, get us to a new consumer, or make people expand to a different direction. It's like we don't have a lot of shade cigars. So, we're working on looking at that and seeing like, hey, can we find things that we enjoy to actually smoke and we want people to share in that. And it takes time, it takes time right now. And it's like multiple tiers of how we're managing our future on tobacco, on project concepts, on marketing resources, on even the people that we have on our team. I mean, our team is still growing. And we're still not even fully staffed yet. So I'm like, think about when we're fully actually running at full steam. But we're doing pretty good for where we are, knowing that, we're still looking for some key people. And, like I said, the product plan is done. And then that's your how, that's your why of what you're doing next year. And then you move on to all the hows. And that's what we're working on for the next 6 months or we're like 3 months. And then we're going to rip 2024 and run out the gate strong, because guess what? We are coming back to PCA. And for me, that is a milestone for our company to be back there, rejoin everybody else in the entire industry. I'm like, I've always said, and I still believe it to this day, PCA is the Super Bowl of cigars. I mean, everybody's there. So it's like that is the most exciting event in cigars. And that's why consumers that can't go, they all want to be a part of it. And I remember when I was a part of cigar media, I was just so grateful to be even around it and find cool people that want to talk about cigars and teach me a thing or two, and now, I work in the biggest booth that has the craziest thing, and we're probably gonna be blasting music and saying hi to everybody we've been missing for the last couple of years. So I'm excited about that more than anything else.
I hate to be Debbie Downer, but there's a question that's been sitting on my head. How do you feel about the FDA coming after infused flavored cigars? And acid is money in your pocket. How do you guys feel about that? And are you worried about it? Or do you have a plan?
One of the things is study after study shows that, premium cigar usage, which, infused cigars are a part of, they're not being smoked by underage or minors. I mean, the last thing on anybody's mind is, we're always like young adult smokers or adult smokers. Like, if you're not an adult smoker, don't come anywhere near our cigars. And and I would say definitely our infused portfolio is a huge part of our business. But certainly, you know, they have to get down to defining what a premium cigar is at the end of the day. Because you know, at the end of the day, I mean, right now it's been defined in legal cases. It hasn't been defined by the FDA itself. I mean, you look at some of the studies and they're like, well, some of this information is a bit confounding because there were some infused cigars in the study as well as non. So it's never been clearly defined. What is a premium cigar? But we know that, you know, in about 2 weeks, you know, the FDA can appeal the latest ruling that the deeming regs won't be working. But we'll see if that happens, because if let's say they do not appeal that the latest ruling, then definitely on traditional cigars, you know, all these regulations that we've seen for going from free sampling to you know, the ingredient list of your cigars, you know, those things will have to be revisited. So it's a huge seismic shift in the legal landscape. Because when I think about the last 7 years, I mean, like, our company has had a much higher standard of compliance than a lot of other companies, because, you know, there's a lot at stake, and we never want to put out cigars that are not compliant. So that's one of the top things that are on mind, where other cigar companies may not take that compliance with the same degree of diligence and care. But you know, it's a different scale of operation.
Yeah. So one of the things I'm always curious about from anybody who either owns a brand or works for a brand, and this is kind of a two-part question. So the first part is, what is your number one go-to? And I know this fluctuates from time to time, but what's your number one go-to regular production Drew Estate cigar that you just keep reaching for?
Yeah, right now, I mean, it's those H99 Papa Freitas. You know, I remember when that cigar sample came to my office and we're smoking, I'm like, this thing's a banger, man. And it's a little guy, but that's the perfect cigar when, like, I don't think I want to have a long cigar, or maybe I'm in a beating, and you know, and you know, it's easy to make. So, you know, it's actually, you know, think about H99 when we launched it 5 years ago. It's taken us this long to get enough of that scrap tobacco and leftover tobacco to actually have a lot of it. So that was why, you know, this year we're like, hey, let's release this cigar, because now we have this tobacco and we should economize it and put it out there. And it's a great budget cigar for people that, hey, you can't afford an H99 large cigar. You can smoke a Papa Frita all day, or hey, you only have, you know, a half hour to smoke, 45 minutes to smoke, or you need a car cigar. I mean, for me, it's a great car cigar, but in Florida, you know, I have a convertible, so I can put the top down and smoke, you know, a short cigar. But for me, yeah, H99 Papa Fritas, it's new cigar, but that's something that I'm going back to. I mean, I had 2 of those today.
Nice. So the second part of the question is, what is your favorite ever that you've had limited edition Drew Estate cigar? And I'm not talking about like stuff that comes out once a year, like Feral Flying Pigs, or I'm talking about the one and dones, the city on a hill cigars that just like, it's hard to even get anymore. What's the one that you've had in the past that you're like, that was one of the greatest cigars ever?
Yeah, you know, as a collector of cigars, you know, I've definitely had a bunch of stuff, and I used to collect, you know, the Drew Estate pre-release cigars that somehow the test ban would come out and it had a couple numbers on it. And I remember in 2018, we had our company meeting down in Nicaragua, and they broke out a blend, and we smoked it, and we were all like, "This is amazing." And somehow we lost track of that blend. Like we couldn't even find a number. Nobody took a picture of it, but we all remembered it was like a banger cigar, and we're like, "Holy, what was in it?" Like, we even trying to find the blend card of it, you know, because I like it at this. Like, I used to chase all these cigars, right? And you know, I'd smoke some guy's limited edition cigar, and then now that I work at Drew Estate, I'm like, I am smoking one of like 25 cigars in the world of this, and we get to decide whether or not this is going to become a cigar or not become a cigar. And for me, those to me are my favorite limited editions, because they don't even get released, right? And so we lost this sample. I think years later we found the sample and we tried to remake the sample, but we no longer had the same tobacco. And I'm like, this sucks. And I was just talking about the same cigar with my creative director and the same moment, and we all remembered how good it was. And I was like, do you remember what the hell the number of that was? Because I thought we had found it, and then, like, yeah, it's just like, it was there. It was awesome, and fuck, we've never made it find it again, which is like really tragic, because I think other people like it too, and we could, definitely have a successful brand launch. But we're like, we don't know what happens. It's just like this UFO cigar, and we're like, damn.
Well, you mentioned a minute ago, Drew Estate's coming back to PCA in full force in March of 2024. That's a big undertaking, and Drew Estate has never fucked around at the trade show. It's a big booth. It's a lot of space, a lot of people, a lot of moving parts. So tell us how the planning's going, because we know that it's not just something where you show up. There's a lot that goes into it.
And also, I'm just curious, you don't have to say it, but has Drew Estate got some kind of big party in the works for PCA?
Yeah, this is the time of year that people don't see, but behind the scenes, I mean, it's budget time. So, if you want to go spend a bunch of money doing something, you don't get a carte blanche to go do stuff. You always have to have a plan. You have to have multiple departments vet out your plan. And like I said, shoot as many bullets into the plan, and you welcome that. We're masochists, right? We want to see our plans get blown up so that we could put together the best possible plan that we can. So where are we in the process? I mean, I think we've defined kind of what our cigars could potentially be. I think because we've been working so far ahead, which I'll credit our project manager, Henry, down in Nicaragua. I mean, he's just got the vision of like, we need to always be working ahead. We don't want to be at crunch time and go like, okay, we can be at the 1 yard line and fumble. We're not interested in that. We want to work far ahead of time, because I mean, the more predictability you can have and the more chance to be successful is because of great planning. So, I mean, I'd say the booth design is not done. There's some concepting and we got to show some design work, I think, tomorrow. We actually have a meeting on that. In terms of the whole overall experience, it's like, hey, does the booth have coffee? Does it have liquor? Does it have, so we're still in the middle of making these decisions, but we always know that we want people to be in our booth. I mean, if you think about the last time Drew Estate was at PCA, IPCPR, I remember like our CFO was walking around and we gave away $10,000. We gave away master cases of cigars. And if you were at that show, you would see that the entire trade show stopped, and everybody stopped at the Drew Estate booth to see like what was going on, what are we giving away. And I mean, that's the type of circus that we enjoy. We want to be creating moments that people remember. And that's why we get into this business, because it's like the impact that you can make on other people and being positive. And guess what? We can all, be successful together and enjoy great cigars and have a great time while we do it with our friends.
All right. So
is it time?
Is it time?
Is it time? I think it is.
Is it?
I think it is.
All right, guys. It is now time for this week's Numero de los Muertos. And as always, Numero de los Muertos is brought to us by our friends at Smoke Inn.
I'm Steve here with the GOAT to tell you about Smoke Inn's Cigar of the Month Club. Every month, I personally handpick 5 premium cigars. Another great feature is our Double Down Club. With a simple check mark, you can get double this great selections every month and save $10. Every month, there's a special discount code where if you like any of the selections, you can get them at a special discounted rate for our Cigar of the Month Club members. We've made it super simple. All you gotta do is log into your account. There's a little green button there. If it's green, you're active. You want to take a break, going out of town, simply hit the button and you'll deactivate your membership. We get the stuff out on the 28th of every month. Our membership bills on the 28th, and we get every member's package out on the 28th if it's a shipping day. All delivered to your door for $34.95. 5 great reasons on what makes Smoke Inn Cigar of the Month Club the best club out there. Check it out. Peace.
All right. Numero de los Muertos, episode 215.
What do you got for us, Matt?
So this one, again, we're returning to the series of where the number is 1. So if you're unfamiliar with Numero de los Muertos, typically a number will be called out, and it could be 25, it could be 25,000, could be 400. And we have you and our viewers and Raul and Justin guess along, play 20 questions to guess how these people died, and for the last few weeks, we've done the number 1, where we just find something that is completely off the wall, like the most weird, random thing in the world. So this is another one where the number is 1. Now, I don't have a year when it happened, but there's some good information here. So the number is 1.
Ooh, 1.
What continent?
North America.
Is it a workplace accident or at a workplace?
You could call it a workplace. Yes.
Okay.
It could be called a workplace.
On land?
On land, yes.
Was a vehicle involved?
Very good question. No vehicles were involved. David, it is not suffocated motorboating a BBW. Good guess, but no. We have some sickos out there. I love you guys.
Was it butt beads?
It was not anal beads. That's Raul's guess every week. It's not anal beads.
Don't knock it till you try it.
Does it involve animals?
Yes.
Okay.
Animals are involved.
And it's at a workplace. And animals or could
Yeah.
Was it a horse?
Not a horse.
I was gonna say
How many questions do we get?
As many as you need. And if we get stuck, I'll give more hints.
I was gonna say a donkey show, but the horse is out. So
David says, is it at a farm?
It could be classified as a farm. Yes.
Are bees
Bees?
involved?
No bees.
No bees.
Was it a reptile?
Nope, not a reptile.
Is it a mammal?
No.
Okay.
What the fuck?
A bird?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, whoa.
Chicken.
Chickens, yes.
Chickens. We're getting there. I feel it.
What?
little Bobby got his eyes pecked out by a chicken.
Yes.
What?
So get this. Get this.
Finally.
In another disturbing story of people done wrong by their own animals, a farmer by the name of Franz Jalmot was found dead on his farm. Police were anxious to discover the reason behind his apparent mutilation and death. During their investigation, they found that there was no chicken feed anywhere on the farm. His 200 chickens apparently didn't take this very well. Since the will to live is great in all living beings, they did what they had to do to survive. They descended upon Jamet and pecked out his eyes and heart, all in the name of survival. It was him or them, and he was vastly outnumbered.
Wow.
The story is don't
forget to feed your chickens.
Yeah. No.
Should have worn the safety goggles, man.
Are we not sure he was a chicken fucker first? He might have got,
Well,
somebody got a little jealous.
I mean, I can't say that. And if that's the case, would it be considered workplace harassment?
Yeah. Call HR right now.
Oh man. Honestly, we've had some really weird numero de los muertos over the years, but the ones where these last few getting into where the number is just 1 because it's so off the wall fucking crazy.
Yeah.
These are they're getting more and more twisted as the weeks go on, which, I dig it.
It can only be ones.
Yeah.
Why would you want like 7? It's like, well, okay, a mass shooting or okay, that's boring.
Yeah.
Not to, like that's serious stuff, but
Man.
So yeah,
Aaron, I think
feed your chickens.
I think 20 chickens you could be able to fight them off.
You could
choke a couple.
20 chickens. I think you could. I mean, you'd have a fighting chance.
Yeah.
200.
Yeah.
You're done.
Forget about it. Yeah.
Forget about it.
All right. So that was this week's Numero de los Muertos.
That one was was perfect right there.
That was
Sync right there.
right on the money.
Okay.
Right on the money.
I got you.
All right, let's jump into the lightning round. And the lightning round brought to us by our friends at J.C. Newman Cigar Company, America's oldest family-owned premium cigar maker, creators of the popular Brick House, Perla Del Mar, Diamond Crown, and the American. J.C. Newman Cigar Company operates out of their 112-year-old El Reloj cigar factory in historic Cigar City, Tampa, Florida. For more information on their cigars or their visitor experience, please visit jcnewman.com. All right, so since this is your first time on the show, we can kind of go back to the old school because we've got a very long list of lightning round questions, but because you've never had any of the older questions, this is cool. So let's start with, if you could hear the thoughts of one living person for 10 minutes, who would it be and why?
One living person for 10 minutes. It might be Elon Musk, man. I'll be boring because I just think it's like that guy is definitely on some other wavelength, and and I'd like to just hear what's he thinking about. It might be the future, or it just might be crazy talk. I don't know.
No, I'm with you. We've heard that answer a few times. I would love to. I don't think I'd be able to understand much of it, because he's so smart. But I think it would be super interesting. All right, so if you were about to get into a fight, what would your soundtrack music be?
What would my soundtrack music be? You know that music in Kill Bill when they find Uma Thurman finds like her nemesis. That'd be it. Like,
oh yeah,
the alarm sounding thing.
Yes, I
like
love those
1970s. Like, it's like crazy.
I love that. Yeah, like it was like the old kung fu movies, like the old Sonny Chiba movies. And love that stuff. All right, so choose one of the following. You could hit a home run as a starting pitcher. You could score a touchdown as a defensive lineman. You could score a goal in a hockey game as the goalie, or a goal in a soccer game as the goalie.
Probably a goal in the soccer game as a goalie, because I think that just recently happened and it never happens. I mean, that's like pure desperado. Like it should have never happened.
Yeah. Well, I think it's one of the rarest things in sports. It's so cool when it happens.
Even if the rest of your career sucks, it's like, you did that once, and that's what everyone will remember.
That's right.
That's enough, man.
Scoring in soccer by itself is
scoring. I mean, your games are 1-0, 2-1. That's like, if somebody scores 3 goals, especially at the highest level, where the goalies and the defense is just absolutely ridiculous. If a team scores 3 goals, it's like a high scoring game.
Yeah. I mean, let me tell you, man, Messi coming to Inter Miami has been some other like revelation, because it's like, okay, all these people that never cared about soccer now want to go to the game. So the tickets went from $5 to like $200 overnight. And I think yesterday he just like didn't even play. So a bunch of people paid a lot of money and didn't get they didn't see him. But it just shows you, like, soccer has gone a long way in a generation since the first World Cup came here in 92, I think it was. And at the time, I didn't even watch soccer. And now, we're getting some knowledgeable soccer people around, and it's great. I mean, MLS is still seeking credibility, but, maybe Messi gets some more people come by and find ways to make money, And I think, but it's so messed up, because you think about, okay, this guy's probably making $60 million a year, and the goalkeeper he's playing against might be making $60,000. It's like, wait a second, man. That is ridiculous. Yeah.
All right. One of you guys want to hit him with the zombie question?
I got you.
All right. Do it.
All right. On zombie apocalypse is coming. You have 3 cigar industry people to pick on your zombie horde fighting team. Who do you pick and why?
Oh boy. Cigar industry people. Oh my goodness. You know what? I would probably pick Jack Heyer. That's a guy I respect. I've worked with him, but you know what? He could be the zombie bait, where like, they go and just like attack him, and I'm like, all right, I'm out, peace, man. And it's like, it's all good. Who else would be there?
You might be the sacrificial lamb.
Well,
yeah,
Jack,
that would be the sacrificial lamb, and the first one killed.
Okay.
Shoot, man, I don't know. Like
Somebody has guns.
somebody that has guns. Well, I have a lot of coworkers. Almost everybody at Drew State has guns. I mean, I might be one of the few people that don't have a gun. Yeah, no doubt about it. I'd be with JD. He'd probably figure a way to get out of that real quick. He's pretty clever, man. So that would definitely be a dude that'd be there. And then, yeah, I don't know. The third person? Yeah, I don't know. Shoot, man. You got me stumped.
no, that's well, let's throw in Willie Herrera because the dude's big. You know, he can throw down.
Big dude. You know, his kids doing football, so I mean, he's been spending. You know, he's had a really tough like a couple of months because it's just like, you know, he's got a kid doing football. He's got a lot of projects to do. But, you know, this whole past year, he's been a great dad. You know, his main priority this year was like, hey, it's my son's last year in high school. I want to go to his games. And now his son's playing football in college, and he wants to be at those games too. So, I mean, he's a dedicated dad. And, you know, when he said that he wanted to spend more time at home with his family, I mean, who could argue with that? And that, you know, and I'm like, but that's the company we work for. You care about each other, and you're like, all right, it's not the end of the world. We can still make things happen.
Yeah. All right, so before we get into notable smokables,
is it time?
It is time to reveal the super secret hashtag comment for you guys who are watching, for you faithful who are watching live on Facebook and YouTube. This is going to get you an additional 25 entries into this contest. So first thing I'm going to do.
And here's again, if people didn't remember what.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't remember this prize package, you know, beautiful lighter, cigar rest, guitar ashtray, bottle carrier. I mean, come on, people. This is beautiful stuff we're talking about here. So in the comments on Facebook and YouTube now, you are going to see the link. If you have not entered yet, go to this link, scroll to the bottom of the page, and you will find how to enter. Now, already, as it stands, we have, I think, 11 ways to enter. And you can enter once a day. And here's the coolest part is if you put in this special hashtag right now, that's going to get you an additional 25 entries into the contest. Now, comment one time, that gets you 25 more entries. That's it. So if you comment the same hashtag twice, it's not going to give you 50. So, you know, let's be fair to everybody. Give everybody a chance. And you know what? Because this is way better than the hashtag I had. I love what Dax just put in the comments. So I am not joking. That is the hashtag. So hashtag
nice job, Dax.
Chicken death. If you comment right now, as we're live, before the show goes off the air, and we'll be on for a little bit longer, hashtag chicken death, that's going to get you an additional 25 entries to win this fantastic Drew Estate Blackened M81 prize package.
So when, for our viewers, will we announce the winner?
So we always notify winners on an individual basis. So when somebody, so the website, there's an engine on the website that handles the raffles, and it chooses the winner at random, and I put the numbers in from the hashtags separately. So once the winner is chosen, I will email the winner directly, and we will announce the winner by name on next Monday night's show. But I will say,
good luck.
Put your hashtag chicken death in the comments right now. And if you have not, if you put chicken death in the comments, but you haven't gone to the link to actually enter the contest, it doesn't count. You got to do both. And let me just double check on this because I want to make sure everybody knows when this contest ends. I should have had this written down beforehand, but hey, it's live TV, people. What are you going to do? I want to make sure everybody knows when the contest is ending.
I got a question for you. I got a lot of questions. That's kind of what I'm here for. What do you smoke outside of Drew Estate that you enjoy?
Yeah, I mean, I smoke a ton of Espinosa. I hang out with Hector here and there at Caribbean Cigars in Miami. I smoke a lot of Warp cigars. I mean, I've been smoking those cigars for a long time. And Tatuaje, those are like my go-to sticks. I mean, like, just good cigars where, I don't know. I just like things that are different. And, I don't need a $30 cigar. So you're not going to see, I have been smoking $30 cigars just to do my research because that is a lot of what I did. I think in the last year, I've smoked more Connecticut cigars than I've ever smoked in my life. Just trying to be like, well, what's the difference between all this stuff? Is there a distinguishable taste difference? And it's like, yeah, I smoke a lot of different things. And, it's funny because today, I went to the office and I had a giant Ziploc bag of like 30, 40 cigars. Maybe 2 or 3 of them were our cigars and it was everybody else's. Because I'm always like trying something new. And it's just like, well, I'm trying to find out if people have a different tasting cigar, does it actually taste different to me? Because I'm like, there's a range that everybody's cigars are in. The Habano, medium, full range. And I'm like, a lot of people have it. But like, can you get something that just like doesn't taste like I actually tasted a Whistle Pig today that they distilled and finished in lychee barrels.
Oh, wow.
And it tasted like citrusy orange. And all of us were like, yo, what the fuck? Like that, this doesn't taste like anything else we've ever had from there.
That sounds awesome.
And that's what I'm looking for. And that's what I'm looking for when we try out new tobaccos. I'm like, can we get something that tastes like not this, that, and that guy's stuff? Like something that just like will be like, what the fuck is that? And I'm like, that's what's interesting to me.
It's like unicorn.
We're always looking for that.
Yeah. All right. So the contest is going to be live and we're going to give people extra time because, again, we want as many people as possible to have a chance. And we're going to keep reposting this. But this contest is going to be live until Friday, the 29th at noon Central Time. So, and again, you can go back to that page and re-enter, get entries every single day. But that extra 25 entries is only going to come if you put #ChickenDeath in the comments while we're live right now on Facebook and YouTube. So best of luck to everybody on that and keep those comments coming. Now let's jump into Notable Smokables, brought to us by our friends at Luciano Cigars. Notable cigars, notable passion, notable purpose. So on every week on the show, each of us names a cigar that we smoked recently that was notable to us. Now, this could be a cigar that's been on the market for decades that we haven't smoked in a very long time and just revisited, or it could be a cigar that's brand new to the market that we smoked for the first time ever. Now, obviously, you're smoking mostly Drew Estate stuff, but like Raul already asked, and we know you smoke outside of the Drew Estate portfolio. So what's something you smoked recently that really stood out to you?
I liked the Don Ronaldo 70th. I wasn't expecting. I actually, a lot of times I'll just pick a cigar. I don't know what it costs. I'm just buying it, and then I actually looked it up because it piqued my interest. So I was like, okay, how much does this cigar cost? And like, what is it? And because I when I was smoking, I was like, this tastes different, and I enjoy this a lot. So let me read about it. There's so many cigars where I'm smoking, I'm like, I'm gonna like this or care much about it, but I'll look it up. Like, okay, how much does this cost? What are they putting in it? And I'm like, all right, well, okay, that was cool. But then, that cigar, and that was a very pricey cigar, but I was like, it was distinctly different to me. And that's usually what I'm looking for. So I was like, that to me was a pleasant surprise because I'm just like, I never know what's going to be like a cool cigar,
Yeah. Justin, what was notable for you recently?
Well, Raul, came out to check out the house and hang out, have a cigar and some pizza. He's lonely. So I had him come over,
Wifey was out of town.
His wifey was out of town. I had to, entertain him for a little bit because he has to be around people all the time. But no, he gave me a Viaje. I think it was the lemon and he had the tangerine, but I'm sure he's going to get to that next because I'm sure that's his notable. But that was a great cigar to sit back and relax, have pizza. outside, enjoy the nature in my backyard with all the birds and deer and everything everywhere. So
Nice.
it's good time.
So yeah, mine was the opposite of what he smoked. I bring a tangerine and a lemon from Viaje. I can't remember who smoked which one, but it was phenomenal.
Very cool. I honestly wasn't familiar with the fruit series from Viaje.
Yeah, there's no bands on them, so we took a guess.
Yeah.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
I'll bring you one of them one day. I don't know what it's gonna be.
Yeah. Hey. So my notable this week was from Cigars and Baseball, and it was from earlier in the day when we had that luncheon with everybody, all the vendors, and we're sitting with Tony Hogan from Crux Cigars, the Gunner. From Crux, which was it was a limited thing they did a few years ago, and man, that cigar, I smoked it. I don't remember how recently, but that cigar was really good. Really enjoyed that cigar.
On that one for a second.
Yeah. I think you're gonna like it, Justin. Definitely. So that was this week's Notable Smokables, brought to you by Luciano Cigars, improving lives through fine cigars. Visit lucianocigars.com to learn more. All right, let's bring you guys some coming attractions that we have in the next few weeks on How About That Cigar Live. And those are brought to us by AJ Fernandez. Born and raised in Cuba, AJ Fernandez now produces unparalleled premium cigars in Esteli, Nicaragua. The AJ Fernandez portfolio of cigars provides blend strength and flavor profiles to match the preferences of any premium cigar consumer. Whether it is New World, Dias de Gloria, San Latano, Enclave, or Bellas Artes, you are sure to be satisfied with a premium cigar from AJ Fernandez. All right, so next week on October 2nd, I cannot believe next week's October already, we have Mike Giordano from Quality Importers. We're going to talk about all the cool stuff from Cigar and Paleo and the humidors and all that cool stuff. And then on October 8th, of course, it's the month of monsters, Mr. Pete Johnson from Tatuaje, back on the show, one of our favorite people to have on the show. So that's what we have coming up.
I'm really looking forward to that one.
Yeah. Pete's always a great guest. So, and we have, honestly, we're scheduled out pretty much through the end of the year. So there's more coming attractions, but we'll let you guys know about that in the coming weeks. First of all, thank you so much for being on the show with us, brother. If you would please let our viewers and listeners know where is the best place for them to keep up with everything that Drew Estate has going on.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, if you're looking to do stuff with Drew Estate, check out drewestate.com/events. I mean, that's where you're going to find our events. That's where you're going to find some Liga Privada clocks and a lot of our swag and our special cigars. So you want to find, Liga Privada Phineas Gauge, which is H99 in the Lancero format, go to that website. Again, www.drewestate.com/events. And you're going to find our people and you're going to find our tribe. And if you've never been to a cigar event, you're going to see something you've never seen before. So stop by there and you'll have a great time.
Nice. Well, thank you so much, brother, for being on the show. We had a great time with you tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thanks for having me. Like I said, it's always about being a part of the cigar community, and we want to serve that community. We want to teach people and tell our story through you guys, so it makes a big difference for us to be able to participate and connect with your audience and your guys, and everyone's putting up chicken death. So I think some people want some swag, so kudos to you guys.
That's right. Well, we appreciate it, man. And to our viewers, for our loyal viewers and listeners, guys, thank you so much for being the best part of How About That Cigar Live. We are so grateful to you for watching live on Facebook and YouTube. Don't forget, you can continue to enter that giveaway once a day until noon on Friday, the 29th, I believe it is. Let me double check. Yeah, Friday the 29th, noon Central Time, you'll be able to still enter that. And you still have probably 15 more seconds that if you haven't yet, you can put hashtag chicken death in the comments on Facebook and YouTube.
Hold on. It's going to be a little longer than 15 seconds.
Oh, a little more. Okay. What's up?
We talked about something pre-show.
What did we talk about?
About you and I having a friendly wager.
Oh boy.
Not really.
We're going to talk about this publicly?
Yes, we are. Because I like the accountability.
Yeah.
Accountability of it.
Yeah. Okay.
So Matt, Ty, and I are going to have a little It's not really a contest.
No, it's an accountability exercise.
Yes. And by January 1, we're both going to pick amount of poundage to lose.
Yeah.
By January 1.
Yeah. It's
and if we both of us have to hit the goal. If we both hit the goal, we're going to take our wives out and Justin and his fiance out.
Yeah.
To dinner.
I mean, bikini season's coming. I gotta get ready for bikini season.
Because you guys don't want me in the contest, because the natural bodybuilding.
You don't eat, so zip it.
Well, the natural, I would kill it.
Yeah, you've got experience.
I did natural bodybuilding shows just a couple of years ago. Don't make me go back there now.
Yeah, we're not
we're not talking to you.
Yeah, I can't compete with that.
And then if we don't hit our weight goals, we're going to go to White Castle and get a crave case each and blow our asses out.
Oh, man.
So
I'll be there just to watch.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. Well, more info coming soon about that. But yeah, we're going to see if we can, get a little more trim for the holiday season.
He can hide his chin. I can't.
That's why the beard.
Here.
You keep the beard to hide the extra chins. That's why I do that. That's why I haven't shaved the beard in 2 years.
Well, Tony says I could lose about 15 pounds if I shave my beard.
He's got a point. He's got a point. Guys, thank you so much for watching live on Facebook and YouTube, and for our audio listeners, guys, thank you so much for making How About That Cigar a part of when you drive down the road, work out, whatever it is you do when you listen to your favorite audio podcast. We're very grateful that you made us a part of it. Look for all of us, or look for all our social medias. And subscribe.
That like button.
Smash that like button.
Make sure you subscribe and hit that little ring bell to turn on the notifications when we go live and all that good stuff.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys. We love you.
And if you guys have any questions, you can email us on the website, howaboutthatcigar.com. Follow us on all your favorite social media platforms at HBT Cigar. And of course, until we see you guys next time, burn cigars,
not bridges.
Thanks, guys. Any comments, opinions, viewpoints, or statements presented or uttered by guests on the HBTC podcast, HBTC live video streams, and all other media from HBT Media LLC are solely those of the individual and do not necessarily represent the opinions or viewpoints of How About That Cigar or its parent company, HBT Media LLC, any of our advertising partners, or the premium cigar industry. The primary purpose of How About That Cigar is to entertain and to encourage activity and growth within the community of people who enjoy or want to learn about the enjoyment of premium cigars.